Despite some stories of success like Kotabu and the Karen people, Southeast Asia was a hard place for Christian evangelism during the 19th century. The Buddhists and Hindus generally welcomed missionaries but worked against Christian conversions. Foreign missionaries spent entire lifetimes befriending locals, learning the languages, and sharing the gospel. But very few Asians turned to Jesus. By the end of the 19th century, less than 10% of the Southeast Asian population called themselves Christians. But here in Singapore, one of the bright lights of the 19th century was this place, St. Andrews Cathedral. This is St. Andrews Cathedral, the largest church here in Singapore. It was established in the 1830s with the current structure dating to 1861. St. Andrews Cathedral is the central church of the Anglican Diocese of Singapore, with 28 parishes here on the islands. During the 19th century, St. Andrews Cathedral established a legacy of providing medical, educational, and social services here in Singapore. To this day, the church also sponsors missions and church planting elsewhere in Southeast Asia through its 6 deaneries in Cambodia, Laos, Indonesia, Nepal, Thailand, and Vietnam. Due to its British roots, the Diocese of Singapore is still in communion with the Archbishop of Canterbury in England, and the symbol of the cathedral is still the famous St. Andrew's Cross. At the beginning of the 20th century, Christians accounted for less than 10% of the Southeast Asia population. But by the end of the 20th century, they accounted for more than 20%. Much of this growth came about as the unintended consequence of world events, such as Japanese oppression during World War II and Western decolonization of the region. Now, it seems the greatest age for Christianity in Southeast Asia, maybe just around the corner. No matter the crisis, the Christian faith continues to survive and thrive in Southeast Asia. Vietnam was slammed by war and the rise of communism, yet today, Vietnam has the second largest Catholic population in the region and is experiencing a dramatic spread of the gospel. The people of Cambodia and Laos were also traumatized by war and the days of the Khmer Rouge regime. Yet today, Cambodia has seen its Christian community grow to more than 300,000, up from just 300 in 1979. And Laos is experiencing similar growth. Even Thailand, long resistant to Christian missionaries, saw a noticeable rise in Christianity among its population during the 20th century. In the last few decades, Malaysia and Singapore have been deeply impacted by the Pentecostal and charismatic movements. In fact, East Malaysia is now considered 20 to 30% Christian. "50 years ago, there were about 17,000 unreached people groups in the world. Today, that number is down to 6,600. More of the Earth's population has been evangelized since the year 2000 than in the previous 200-plus years of modern missions. A major reason for this growth is the strategic training of native missionaries to share the gospel inside their own countries. Following the model of Kotabu reaching his own Karen people, mission movements in Singapore and throughout Southeast Asia have spearheaded a return to this cultural evangelization approach. Over 2,000 years ago, the man known as Jesus of Nazareth was born in the small town of Bethlehem in the land of Judea. His extraordinary life, brutal execution, and miraculous resurrection from the dead attest to the truth of his claim to be the only Son of God. This is the story of how Jesus, through the lives of his faithful followers, has become known around the world, impacting all of human history from the first century until today. This is Drive Through History, Ends of the Earth.